What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy, strategy, MSTR, Michael's strategy is what we're talking about. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Sorry, it's been a few days. I haven't talked about this in a few days, but really, I guess I just missed Tuesday because I talked about it on Friday. But 3:59 here, 4 hours, 38 minutes left in the day. We have today, Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, and the next day, Friday, left in the week here. Bitcoin's consolidating. You're like right at where you were on Friday's close for Bitcoin, so MSTR being a little bit lower, that's okay. Looking at the RSI here on the daily time frame, we are at an area to bounce, but will we bounce is the question, right? Can we go lower? We absolutely can. Can we get into the oversold zone? We absolutely can. And if that happens, we might see a more substantial retracement than where we're at now. We're at $360. $360. If we look at this from a low to a high here, I might actually take a different low if I'm being fair. I'm going to take this low actually. Come on now, that low there. I would normally, in this kind of circumstance, I would expect that we see a price at $342, right down at the 382. Now, it's very common when a chart has a bullish trajectory, a very bullish trajectory, not just a meandering, walk through the park trajectory, that you go to the 382. That's not the common thing. When you see a bullish run like this, very, very pronounced run, it's very common to bounce right off the 382. Any run can bounce right off the 382, but most of the time you expect a wick below and then a close at it, and then you kind of meander, and then you go. But if this is what I think it'll be, you'll bounce right off of this line, $342, because that's your 382 right there, and you've seen a rather stupendous move to the upside, okay? But all that non-stop movement to the upside comes at a price. You got to cool off for a little bit. Right there where the 382 is, where the yellow line is, that's also where our prior resistance, prior support area was as well. It's kind of right at the peak of this little breakout zone as well, and that tends to be an area of significance, right? I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just show you real quick. Look, you see how these come down right here? This comes down, it forms like a peak right there in the price, and you're looking to find support basically right around that peak. It's actually pretty normal. Let's see if I can find an example of that real quick. Kind of, but not really right there. Maybe MSTR doesn't do it. Cryptos do it a lot, but this actually, I'm not finding any examples of what I'm talking about. Kind of here, kind of. If you're like looking at this, you've kind of got a peak right there, kind of. And notice how you found resistance right here at it. That's a good example, I guess. Peak right here, and you found resistance right here at it, but you did break through inevitably. I don't know. But you moved up. When you moved up, where you found resistance was right there in line with that peak. I don't know. Store that in your back pipe and smoke it for later. That's probably, that's something that, I don't know if that's like proven to be a science or not. There's no real peak here, so I can't really say that. But it's something that I've noticed in my years of doing technical analysis. I noticed that actually in my first year doing technical analysis, this little peak significance area, for whatever reason, I've noticed prices doing that. And that makes sense, I guess. But anyways, what I'm trying to get to is 341, 340, 342, whatever. Somewhere around there is where we're going to go to find support. We're at 360 now, so a little bit of a drop off. If MSTR drops as low as I think it's going to go to, that would imply about a 5% drop. We'd probably expect Bitcoin to drop a little bit too, maybe 2%, maybe it drops 1%, whatever. If we were to go down, the lowest I'm thinking it's going to go to is 104.8K. So if we dropped 2.5%, yeah, MSTR would likely drop 5%. So that actually makes a whole lot of sense. I really do feel confident in that $340 area, $342 area. If we do turn around here, if we find support here, that's great. It's just kind of obscure. Typically with any kind of fib, I don't care if it's a high to a low or a low to a high. When you go below the 236 like this, you don't stop. It's either you do find support at the 236 or you don't. And if you don't, the 382 is your next level. And if you don't, the 0.5. And if you don't, the 618. And if you don't, so on and so forth, right? And I think that we're going to go to 342. Afterwards, and maybe we go a little bit below there, but that's okay. After we go down to that level, high to low fib now, right? You broke above the 236 here, so you went all the way up to the 382, found resistance, immaculate resistance right there, and then came back down. Whenever we do find support, we will likely begin, and it's actually very common, by the way, to go from your golden ratio to your 0.5 382 area, and that's exactly where that 340 area is. It's right in there. Whenever we do move up higher, the expectation is to see prices that are in this primary target zone. Maybe we find some turbulence up in here a little bit, do a little dance, and continue to grow. My overall expectation is that MicroStrategy, MSTR, will be at a price of about $1,100 to $1,300, maybe even higher than that, by the end of June, early July. I'm actually starting to think that it will be sometime in July, so my hopes are not set on end of June, but it could be end of June. MSTR does top off differently than Bitcoin. They don't top off at the same time, so maybe it gets more of a rally, and it will rally harder than Bitcoin in all fairness, so it's very possible. But I am expecting overall this next move, this next phase up, to take us to about $1,155 to $1,300. If anything, maybe a little bit above there. I don't think we settle for anything less than $1,100. I really don't. So that's the expectation at the moment. We're at 360 right now. I need to call my grandpa and tell him to buy some MSTR, man. I was trying to get him to buy it. Not you, Pawpaw. My Pawpaw's got some MSTR. He's sitting pretty, but my grandpa, I need my grandpa to get into it as well. They're both grandpas. It's just in America, depending on where you're from, you could call various family members Pawpaw, Peepaw, Papu, Papa, I don't know, or various things, or Mimi or Meemaw, or all kinds of things for your grandparents. There's Nana, all kinds of things, but I don't know. That's a thing specifically. It's not just specific to the South, but I feel like it's more prominent in the South to like have those little nicknames. I don't know. Anyways, 360 now. You'll be moving up to $1,000, $1,500, somewhere in that range. I should say $1,100 to $1,500. Probably sometime in July. That's my expectation. Probably early July, if not end of June. I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit lower to go first, and then you'll be moving up. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Weekly RSI should have been an indicator. We rejected the overbought zone, so of course we're going to come back down. Typically, when you reject the overbought zone, you look to find support at the 50 or at the 40 or oversold. Typically, if you find resistance at the overbought zone and you find support at the 60, that's a good thing, but we're not doing that. We've already broken below. So the 50 awaits. 50 awaits. That's where we're going to find support. We found support here before. Found resistance here before. You know, it's a somewhat significant area right there. So that's, if we're going down a little bit lower, that would actually make a lot of sense. Wouldn't surprise me at all, in fact, if this week closed down that way. Man, if MSTR closes that way, then my call for Bitcoin is going to be wrong, because I'm actually expecting us to move up. So I must have missed something. We probably are. We did consider, though, at least we actually did consider that we'd go down to about $104.8 thousand. So that lines up with MSTR. It just makes a lot of sense in my opinion. So if anybody's watching this and you saw my Bitcoin video, just understand at this point in time, I'm actually bearish on the rest of this week now, thanks to MSTR. So thank you, Michael Saylor, for selling all of your micro strategies to buy Bitcoin. Apparently the market doesn't like that. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.